Egyptian investors who worked or traveled outside, this will acquire new technologies and so on. So from the economy point of view, depending on the civilian parties will be much more favorable to the country economy. The military as itself, to support the economy, of course it can support the economy, but as he said again, the military cannot do everything, because if he focuses in the economy, this means that his main role will not be covered. So he can support, but he cannot take over.
Of course.
So we can see some military managed companies work with the civilian sectors in some mega project, but this should be limited for the important projects or the projects that need specific quality standards or time constraints or cost constraints. But making the military be responsible for the whole economy, this can have a negative impact on his main role in protecting and securing the country.
Right. If you take a flashback into history, we see that Mubarak made a mistake because he thought if he kept people fed, which he failed to do, by the way, he would secure their silence. And also Mohammed Morsi of the Brotherhood made another mistake because he thought that his electoral victory, which he rigged and faked, he would then secure, or it would be a sign that people would be on his side regardless of his behavior and his performance as a president. Clearly the Egyptians are giving messages to whoever who come to in office to rule them that they want to be fed, they want a good living, and they also want democracy. So do you think that whoever comes to rule Egypt is heeding those messages?
We hope so, because if he is not recognizing that there is
not necessarily Sisi, but I mean
anybody.
Is anybody aware of the upgrade in the level of awareness of Egyptians?
I believe yes, because since 2011 our community and societies have developed a lot in the sense of democratic importance and participation and evaluating decisions and so on. So this is, again, if you are speaking about Field Marshal EL-Sisi, he will need also a layer from the government who are responsible to handling this issue and make sure of transparency, credibility, communication with the society and the citizen, and make sure that the different authorities in the country are working and coordinating well, like the executive authority, the judicial authority, the parliamentary authority. So this is an issue that cannot be neglected, because if it is neglected, that means that 2011 and 2013 was just a waste, because this means that the two revolutions haven't corrected anything in our society. So if Field Marshal EL-Sisi or any new president will come, he should know that the democratic values are very important. The transparency with the society is very important, and we have to believe in something, which is rotation of the authority. We don't believe on rotation of the authority. We have to believe that it should be a rotation of the authority. That means if I am a president now, this means that after my term that I can have another president. So having a president like President Adli Mansour come and go, this is new for our life. And this should be the role models, that every president knows that he is not living forever in his position, and he is responsible also to create new generations who are capable to take over and responsibility of the country. Because if we didn't do so, we'll have the same problem during Mubarak. What happened during Mubarak? When Mubarak left, we didn't have a second layer who can take over the responsibility of the country. So we have fascist groups that were organized at that time and were able to jump on the revolution. But if Mubarak would have created the second line and the third lines that can be capable to take over the authority of the countries, and there is a democratic way of transferring the authority and handing over the authority for different generations, this will keep us away from any another political disorder or this disruption. Okay, and we have to take care of this. So we have to prepare for the rotation of authority by allowing new political parties to appear, strong one, real one, working one, not just names, and in the same time promoting and recommending the youth and the new generations and women and different ethnic groups to participate in this process. Otherwise, we can have a disruption or political disruption in the future. So hopefully, inshallah, this will not happen.
Right. You earlier in the beginning, you talked about the foreign relations or the international relations file, and the political analysts keep questioning about the face or the fate rather of the U.S.-Israeli Egyptian relations, and if they are going to be at the heart of the foreign policy in the coming phase, the first term of the elect President Sisi. The events that took place after removal of the Brotherhood, terrorist Brotherhood organization, and U.S. administration started delaying the military aid. I don't want to say cut it, or rather cut it, and also cutting some economic aid to Egypt, and sort of like trying to impose some kind of punishment because of the removal on Egypt, of course, and Egyptians because of the removal of their ally, the Brotherhood. That somehow created a new situation to Egypt that liberated Egypt from its conditioned economic military assistance after the U.S. cut the military aid. Now Egypt have to, let us say, value the peace treaty with Israel at its own merit, but without imposing any conditions that they have to abide by this peace treaty. They just respect it as a partner, and that's it. It liberated Egypt somehow. So how do you read that, and where do you see the course of event taking Egypt under the rule of elect President Sisi?
First of all, the U.S. government mainly focus on their securing their interest. Okay, even if there are claims they are supporting democracy or human rights and so on, but in the real life they can support different dictatorship regimes. Okay, interim President Ali Mansour have clearly stated that some countries were not happy by this political transformation of 30th June because they already have secured their interest with the Brotherhood. So taking out the Brotherhood from the picture have disturbed their interest in the region. Currently, if you see that the speech of Obama, that he says that he is willing to cooperate and deal with Field Marshal Sisi, and the amount of tension tone that came after 30th June is totally different now. It is much more simple tone, lenient, much more looking for cooperation. So as I said before in previous meetings, that the U.S., if their interests are secured or balanced, they can negotiate, and in all ends they need a cooperation with Egypt. They cannot lose Egypt, and I believe that Field Marshal Sisi is wise enough to balance between the interest of Egypt and the interest of the U.S. to make a balanced relation between the two countries. And as you said, this is our new history opportunity to get rid from an external control. The military aid will come back, maybe stronger than before. The economical aid come back, maybe stronger than before. But in the same time, we should not be so either too west or either too east. We have to make balance either with Russia.
We shouldn't be dependent on
and we have to be dependent.
That's what Egypt did. They didn't care the last, and they ignored the implications of cutting off the military.
This is what gains the credibility to Field Marshal Sisi, and this is what make most of the Arab hearts with him. Okay, the treaty with Israel, I believe it can be revised to make sure sustaining the interest of Egypt. Field Marshal Sisi will make sure that the security and the border of Egypt is protected enough. As you have seen, there also a change in the government of Palestine. So Hamas is going in the shadows again. This means that maybe we have more balanced government in Gaza, which will maintain the relation with healthy relation with Egypt again. So I see that there will be a better cooperation in the future. There will be a balanced relation between Egypt and U.S.
Right. Unfortunately, we ran out of time.
Really?
That was very valuable having you here today, Dr. Karim Hamza. I would like to thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It was my pleasure.
And I guess this is where we end this edition of Windows and Current Affairs. Thank you very much for joining us, and please make sure to join us next week at the same time. Until then, that's all.